Alright, so Italy risks losing grip in South with fear of looting and riots. If you don't think that that is going to happen here, you are sleeping. Why do I say that? Because we've already been reporting that there is a massive food shortage. There's a massive food shortage, and then couple that with all of these disruptions and everything. Sorry, this is going crazy. This is a ticking time bomb. Absolutely. As Prime Minister Giuseppe somebody, society getting together through crippling nationwide lockdown, the depressed South is turning into a powder keg. Yep, and they've got riots right now in Wuhan. I mean, it may seem like your grocery stores right now have food, and they likely do, but it won't be for long. I know many of you have already heard this analogy, but let me explain it to you again. If you're going to boil a frog, you're not going to turn the water up on high and then throw the frog in. That would be silly. You're going to put the frog in and then turn it up just a little. Keep turning it up until the frog is dead. And that's how these things work. They can't very well just shut everything down in one day. They have to do it bit by bit. That way, you get a little used to it. You get a little used to, okay, I get to stay home. It's like a little vacation. Not so bad. Hey, and we're even going to keep the stores open. And then a week later, the stores start shutting down a little bit earlier. And then a little bit earlier. And then there's people online shaming people for keeping their doors open. Some of these people are paid. Some are not. Some are just out of control and they can't use logic. But this is absolutely positively going to be a massive aspect. See, I'm not worried about this corona situation at all. At all. I mean, besides for the fact that I've been preparing for that with this and the liquid stuff that I take that I can't talk about because natural things are illegal or something. They're not illegal, but they don't like you talking about those. But if you want to find out about it, you can look at the first pinned comment. It'll be down at the bottom and it'll say 20% off. But this is the major concern. And it has been. I did a video about it a few months ago. And look, the UN warning. Coronavirus measures could cause global food shortage. If you could just take this part out, then it would be accurate. See, now they have a reason to tell you that the food shortage is. They'll just say, oh, it's the coronavirus. Where if you've been paying attention to anything, really, you'd notice that this has been going on. And that's farmers, that we have never had this many farm bankruptcies since probably the Depression in 2019. Massive bankruptcies because of multiple different factors, but mainly with this global, was it a polar, oh gosh, I forgot, whatever, cooling. It's not climate heating, no. It's going to be a freeze. It's going to be a mini ice age. A grand solar minimum. That's what it is. Sorry. Okay. So, their harvests have been good, and the outlook for staple crops is promising. That's a lie. So let's go to somebody that's going to tell some truth. Russia wants to limit grain exports to protect their food supplies. You can't blame them. And what have we done? We have no grain supply extras. Like we don't have any like stock. This seems crazy. Sorry. This is bad. It's really bad. All I can say is you better start buying some seeds and learning how to garden, because it's way worse than they're telling us. Because we've been talking about this for... Ice Age Farmer has been talking about it for almost 2 years, or so, probably more. He was projecting this. And you can talk to people that own supermarkets, you can talk to farmers, and they're going to tell you, absolutely, that's going on. We had too cold of a winter, then they had the rain, so they got the crops in too late because of the rain. The people that were able to get their crops in, the winter came too early, so they couldn't get the crops out. And then those who did get their crops out, we have a propane shortage, so they couldn't dry out their crops. Beans, seeds, the potato seeds that they use for planting, don't have them. Fruits and vegetables will run out unless Britain charters planes to fly in farm workers from Eastern Europe. This is global. And on top of all of these situations, we have those locusts that are eating through 100 acres in a day, like massive amounts. These locusts they've gone all over like Africa and the Middle East, just ravaging the places. The workers who supply the world's foods are starting to get sick, possibly. And so, poultry giant Sanderson Farms on Monday reported the first case of a worker at a major U.S. meat production testing positive for coronavirus. The employee and 6 others were sent home to self-quarantine. Did this happen? I don't know. But that's going to continue happening. But there's more to it. They're not allowing people to come plant the farms because they closed down the borders. Even those that had, I'm not saying everyone, but the ones that had work visas here aren't being allowed to come and plant the farms. So this is like compounding. It's one thing after another after another. And if you don't think this is a planned situation, well, you should look up Event 201. Not only Event 201, but during Event 201 or right before it, they did what's called the Food Supply Chain Reaction game or something like that, where they kind of did a scenario of if the food shortage, like if we had, what would occur with all of this. And it's not good. How the coronavirus crisis is affecting food supply. Like other parts of the global economy, food supply chains have been disrupted by coronavirus pandemic, and empty supermarket shelves have become a symbol of the crisis. This is partially true, but this part is panic buying in some countries has led to some grocery staples like pasta, flour, supermarket sold out within weeks. Some of that's true, but not most of it. We've been talking about the wheat's been low. They didn't get good crops for that, to make the pasta and all of these things. The beans, all of these things, they don't have them. Is food going to cost more? Yeah, of course it is. What silly questions these people ask. These articles are so ridiculous. UN warns of global food shortage caused by coronavirus. So silly. And then they're saying, it's because of nationalism, because people are keeping their food in their countries and stuff like that. Well, that again is partially true. But the fact is, we are in a grand solar minimum. And all you need to understand is you better start learning how to garden, or you're not going to have food for your children. For people that keep saying, don't worry, in a couple of weeks we'll all get back to normal. No, we won't. It's never going back to normal. Not anytime soon, if ever. And I'm not trying to scare you. Would you rather have the truth, or would you rather be shocked like the majority of the population will be, like Italy is right now? They didn't know. They were locked down. They thought, oh, everything's going to go back to normal. And then they realized there's not really any food. And Wuhan, the same thing. And it's happening in Europe. All of these things it's a snowball effect. But just know that this didn't happen because of the coronavirus. This was already happening, and this is just this panic. Not the coronavirus. The panic and hysteria is making this worse. Because any logical person can sit down and do the math of these numbers and see that this is not a pandemic. Not in the least. When 0.001% of the population has succumbed to this virus, supposedly, and I don't say supposedly because I think the virus is fake. I say supposedly because we're seeing doctors and nurses come out saying that what the news is saying is inaccurate. What the CDC is saying is not accurate. So, but if you just go by their numbers, that they're putting out, 0.001%. Essentially, just as likely to get struck by lightning. Definitely far less likely than dying in a car crash. But this is bad. It is really bad. And there's already people saying that seeds are out. See, there were people that already were seeing the writing on the walls, and as soon as all this started coming down, they started going out and getting chickens and getting pigs and getting seeds. And now many places are short on seeds. Some don't, they're sold out. One man says he normally sells like 100 chickens in a week or whatever. And this last week he sold like 1,000 eyeball chickens. Laying chickens, not for their meat, but for eggs. And this is what, take this as your warning. Please do not say, oh yeah, right, everything's gonna be just fine. This isn't new information. I mean, this is new articles, but I'm saying they've already known this. And now they just have an excuse to be able to tell you about it. I have a video where I went into more depth on all of these issues, and I will put that at the end of this video. You can click on it and watch that, because I show like the sugar, the beans, that like what all occurred and everything. And it's not good. It's not good. And it really amazes me how people don't see these things coming, and they think everything's just going to get back to normal like it was. This is unprecedented. You think that this is because of a virus? Really? No way. There's a lot more going on. So, anyway, let's learn how to garden. I've already planted most of mine, and we'll see. I'll keep y'all updated. And check out Ice Age Farmer. He does amazing. He has amazing insider information from large farmers to small farmers to markets, people that own grocery stores and stuff like that. And you just need to be prepared. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful night. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye, guys.